Greetings and welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. So today I'm going to talk about the difference between reason and logic. Okay, and so the main difference between the two is that reason is very broad and encompasses all cognitive processes, whereas logic is just a very small part of reason. And and then, of course, the most important difference between the two is that logic requires rules, and that's why it's called formal. Okay, so who started this thing about rules and formalism? Well, it was some prize idiot called David Hilbert. And David Hilbert wrote a lot of crap about arithmetic and numbers. So did Frege. So did many of their colleagues. They were all idiots who had no clue about mathematics. And unfortunately, they strongly influenced mathematics together with other prize fools like Wittgenstein, Bertrand Russell, and numerous others who didn't know their nose from their buttholes. Probably you're one of those people. Not probably, I'll say the likelihood is pretty high that you're an idiot who believes that axioms are required in mathematics, because really an axiom is what is given in place of reason, but it has rules attached to it. Now, mathematics doesn't have rules. The fallacy that Euclid's Elements requires five axioms has been peddled so long that every Tom, Dick, and moron believes it, and it's now doctrinal belief. A lot of them, for example, will comment in the comment section. That's why I've disabled comments now. I'm sick and tired of reading garbage. But a lot of them will comment that you can't do anything without axioms, which is absolute garbage. Thank the universe that the ancient Greeks didn't think that way, because if they did, you wouldn't have had the advancement in technology and science and all the other STEM fields. So, without further ado, let's begin this topic. And in order to do that, I'm going to use ChatGPT, okay, because it's the sum total of knowledge uh, of mainstream ideas and views, and I want to be able to present those and show why they're wrong. Okay, so of course, ChatGPT can't think, but it does have the capability of producing extremely good responses and summaries, better than most humans, but better than most math academics themselves. Yes, that's true. If you don't believe me, you need to try it and you'll find out. So this init-g that you see up there is one of the requirements that I have in this conversation. It means that ChatGPT will address me as a genius, which I am, and not one of you, for example, one of you idiots. So yes, it will influence the way it responds. It will make it a lot shorter. It will make it a lot more directed, and it will eliminate all the drivel that is normally found in mainstream sources of knowledge, such as textbooks, online pages, etc. So it acknowledges that that's how it has to respond. And then my first prompt is state the difference between reason and logic. So its first response is a little lengthy, but it will soon change. So it says reason and logic are closely related concepts, but have distinct roles and applications in critical thinking and analysis. So it goes through a long rant, and then, of course, I remind it that I wanted to keep its responses very short and directed, and to summarize only the main difference. Okay, so what is the main difference? Reason is the broader cognitive process of forming judgments and conclusions. Okay? And logic is a formal system. Now, when you see that word formal, immediately a red flag pops up, and the 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 academics you should think of are idiots like this guy, David Hilbert, Frege, Wittgenstein, Russell, all those morons who did mathematics a tremendous disservice. Okay, that's what you need to think of. So, and of course, then the crap brains of the last 100 to 150 years who've been in charge of the shit heap that is mainstream mathematics academia. So, logic is a formal system for evaluating the validity of arguments based on structure. Now, that's an argument that is misleading. And what this really says, this definition here, is that formality or logic implies rules. Okay, so rules are requirements that humans make up. So, for example, if somebody else had to try and had to think of geometry, they would, in fact, have to have the same rules as humans, which is impossible. Okay, because geometry doesn't require rules at all. So, formal directly implies rules. And yes, ChatGPT returns with a prompt answer. And so, the next question or the next prompt is, does geometry have rules? And again, ChatGPT answers incorrectly, yes. So the next thing I do is I say, state the rules. So it says exactly what most of you morons in mainstream mathematics academia will say. You'll say that geometry's rules include axioms or postulates, definitions, and theorems derived from them. And so what it does is it spits out not Euclid's axioms, but the 5 requirements of Euclid, which the baboons of the last 2,000, almost 2,300 years did not understand. So, because your moronic mainstream mathematics professors and teachers did not understand the elements, did not have a clue what geometry is about, and could not explain these concepts, these requirements, they assumed automatically that they're given. In other words, that they have to be believed without any proof, which is total, absolute rubbish. Okay? So, continuing the chat, I say to ChatGPT, that's a response I expected, but that response is wrong. There are no axioms in valid mathematics, nor are they needed. And I submit one of my famous articles called The Revised Elements Prologue, which comes before which should be studied before the elements of Euclid. And I tell GPT to review the systematic derivation of the 5 requirements. And so ChatGPT does that, doesn't really do such a great job because these definitions are not the ones stated in my article. But of course, ChatGPT is pre-trained with all the mainstream garbage to such an extent that it always falls back on what it has in its data banks. So, and then I ask it another. I don't ask it. I state another claim. Since the arguments cannot be refuted, one must conclude that the long-held belief that these are rules or axioms must therefore be in error. And ChatGPT says, well, based on the systematic derivation provided, the conventional belief that these are axioms or self-evident truths must indeed be reconsidered. Okay, because ChatGPT can't find any error in those. That doesn't mean that it's as good as a human, but based on its mainstream data, that conclusion is pretty good. So The derived requirements demonstrate that these foundational elements of geometry can be logically and geometrically established without assuming them as axioms, indicating a need to revise the traditional understanding of these concepts in mathematics. Now, in order for you to understand why GPT responded that way, you have to actually study the article. Okay? In other words, this article here. All right? So I wrote this article because I was planning to complete a revised publication of Euclid's Elements. I have not been able to complete it yet because it's a huge work and there are some things that need to be changed. In other words, the Elements is not a perfect work, and it does have some problems that I have fixed, but I just haven't gotten around to collating and putting everything together and having others check it. And of course, I have some new ideas in the last few years which I'd like to implement. So, but this prologue remains unchanged. This will be the foundation for anyone wishing to study the concepts of geometry and uh, their properties, etc., in the Elements of Euclid. So, if you study this, I show you everything you need to know and how these concepts are derived from nothing. In other words, none of them are axioms, okay? And I go into great detail, starting with the void universe, so to speak. In other words, there's nothing out there, just a systematic, valid derivation of all the 5 requirements. And this is needed because if you don't have these in place already in the Elements, then all you can do is believe in them, like the morons of mainstream mathematics academia who are totally inept at mathematics and have not understood these things, have failed dismally to show that they can be required from nothing, that they can be systematically derived from nothing. So that is basically the content that I wish to discuss in this video, and to explain to you that there are no axioms in mathematics. I will place a link to this article so that you can read it and study it carefully. It's not something that you will be able to read through once, because you need to carefully study everything that's in this document. It's been very well written, and if you don't study it, you're doing yourself a disservice. So you will find also now that I have disabled comments in my YouTube channel because I'm sick and tired of reading garbage. I mean, your 2 cents, really, I don't have time to ban you and delete you. So I'm just going to prevent comments from being published on my channel. So if you're not already a subscriber to my channel, become a subscriber. Tell your friends about this. Tell your parents, tell your teachers, tell your idiot professors as well. And also follow me on academia.edu, where you'll find not only this article, but hundreds of other articles to increase your knowledge, to help you to reason correctly, and to understand that logic is not part of mathematics, okay? Logic is a set of rules developed by idiots of the last 150 to 200 years. Idiots who have never understood mathematics, who have no clue what the foundations of geometry are, and have been led astray by unbelievable dimwits and insane people like George Cantor and Gödel and all those other incredibly stupid people. So that's pretty much it. I'm John Gabriel. This is a New Calculus channel. Until next time, goodbye.